Hey everybody, this is Ashley with Publish with Ashley. I am back today on Wednesday at noon, and we had an awesome last 2 weeks. I was doing a planner course or planner challenge, Q4 planner challenge in my Facebook group. There should be links below to go to that and join my Facebook group. It's free. It was 10 days, 2 weeks, so Monday through Friday, and everything I thought it was really great. I thought it was really, kind of step by step and showed people a lot of stuff. I've had a lot of questions about, how to do style, how to do different things. So there's a ton of information in there and it's all free. It's if you join my Facebook group, it's under the units category. So there's a units tab. So you hit units and then you'll see the Q4 Planner Challenge. But it's got a lot of stuff. I'm actually today going to refer to that because a lot of people have asked me questions and a lot of the answers are in there. So go check that out on my Facebook group. If you haven't joined, please join. It's free. It's great. And you can ask me any questions too in there too. All right, so let's see. Other things. Publish with Ashley. .podia.com, which there'll be a link in the description below. Go check out if you're a total newbie, you need how to start for $29. I have a course. It's really great. Very, very step by step, very, methodical, organized, and it's got some cool PowerPoint software and different things in there that is included in that. So go check that out. And all right, so today's topic is are you ready for Q4? And if not, my tips. So do you guys think you're ready for Q4? I will admit that I don't feel ready for Q4. So when I was doing these tips, I had to laugh at myself because I was like, well, why don't I feel ready, right? So I was asking myself all these questions. And I know what my default answer and how I go about things and what I do. So I know if I have this question, then you all have this question, and more than likely you don't feel ready for Q4. It's like, panic, right? Don't panic. This is not something to panic about. Hey, Teresa, how are you? Don't panic. Q4 is awesome. And nobody feels ready. Even if you start in January getting ready, which you should do, right? Plan out your year if you can. I try and I have to rechart my course all the time, but that's okay because, right? If you're aiming at something, you're going to at least get close versus if you're not aiming at all, heaven knows where you'll be. So here are my tips. I guess I have 4. It's not much of a countdown, but there's a lot in number 1. So my tips, if you are not feeling ready for Q4. All right, so the number 1 reason, I'm starting with the number 1 reason because number 4 actually refers back to number 1. So you got to start with number 1. Create a plan, okay? This is the most important thing you can do. It is by far the easiest, yet the thing that people just ignore, don't do, whatever. They just don't create a plan. And so if you don't have a plan, of course you are going to be panicked because you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're supposed to be doing. And you are not putting your subconscious on the problem of solving your problems. Instead, your subconscious is coming up with all the reasons you are not ready. It's coming up with all these things like, oh, you could do this, you can do this, right? So you feel just panicked, right? So create a plan. How do you create a plan? It's simple, actually. And it should be simple. If it's not simple, if you have some crazy way to create a plan, then simplify it. Set top priorities, right? So go through what your priorities are. If you have 20 ideas, list them from number 1 to number 20 and set those priorities. How you decide on your priorities can be a lot of things. It could be you want to make the most money. So look at, the priorities, the niches you think would, and I can't tell you which ones will make the most money. No one really knows. But, you can do some research and decide which ones you think will make the most money. Or you can set your priorities based on if you want to build out a brand. So maybe you want to use this Q4 season to launch your brand, the brand you think you're going to really push. Q4 is a fabulous time to do that because you can get a lot of buying. There's a lot of buyers out there. So if you can get a lot of people buying, you can get a lot of reviews and purchases and things like that can really jumpstart your brand. So if that is your goal, maybe focus on your top 4 brand books that you think could really sell. Make those extra special. Save a little money to do ads. Oh, good. I'm glad you can catch Jim, you can catch my advice at 5 p.m. I lived in England. I think I've told you that. I liked living there. Well, yeah, technically England. I know it's the UK, but I lived in actually that England part. Let's see. Okay, so set your priorities, all right? Set those priorities based upon whatever values you deem or things you want to accomplish. And then create a step-by-step plan. Write it out. The reason I always feel stressed is because my mind is trying to solve the problem, but it's all wandering everywhere. Like I can't sleep at night. Last night, in fact, I couldn't sleep because I had this nagging sense in my head that the things weren't going to get done today. And so I actually got out of bed, wrote down I think I added like 4 tasks I think I added 10 tasks to my to-do list. Some of them are just simple stuff, but I just wanted to make sure I got them done. And then I went to bed and I was good. Like my mind was like, okay, we're good. We're good now. Right. So create that step-by-step plan. And stick with it. Okay. Now I agree. You have to adjust based on if you find something or you have a new task or you didn't realize something. Yes. Adjust your step-by-step plan, but intentionally try and keep to that plan. Or, if you're going to adjust it, rewrite down your plan because it just helps keep you focused. I'm a huge to-do lister, and it's not because my husband asked me the other day, do you feel validated by checking things off? No, but I forget what I'm doing because I'm always doing too many things. And so it's not, for me, yes, I do feel happy checking things off my list. But for me, it's more about keeping my brain from just exploding, right? The list helps me keep it somewhere under check, or if I'm not sure what I should do or what I can do, I do break my tasks sometimes down into, by day or priority. And then sometimes I break stuff down into things I can do, like while watching TV. So my husband and I like to watch TV in the evenings. So there's tasks I can do that I will put off till then because I know I can do them effectively. Like uploading is something I can do while watching TV because sometimes you're just sitting there waiting for it to turn. So things like that, I try and organize stuff by lifestyle maybe. But the list is helpful because then I don't sit down and watch TV and do nothing. I go, oh, let me pull out my list of things I need to do. And I just go and do it. So creating that step-by-step list is really important. And then set deadlines for each of your steps. Or each of those steps or tasks, however you want to call and label them. Set your deadlines because if you have a goal in mind, you're able to reach it versus, and you can adjust your deadlines. Do adjust your deadlines if you find you're setting yourself unrealistic deadlines and then you're frustrated because getting yourself frustrated does not help you. So set what you think are realistic goals and then adjust them, okay, based on your life and like I always say, I'm big on grace. Give yourself grace if something crazy happens. My daughter's birthday, she's turning 16. And so I decided last night to work on, it was really fun. I made these invitations and then I go crazy. I made her this cartoon video of all these people dancing at a party and, and then put it on a QR code so that when you looked at it on the phone, the invitation came up. I should show you them. They're really cute. They're out there. I would have brought them. Maybe I'll bring them in next week. And they've got like VIP. They're really cute. Anyway, so I spent a whole lot of time on that last night instead of working things on my to-do list. So, it's okay. So, create your deadlines with that in mind. Okay. So Jim asked, yes, I do. I did live there. I lived in Red Lodge. I don't know if you know. It's not very far from Newmark. It's a tiny little village. Had one bar. I know how many bars you have is important. Or not bar, pub. It had one pub, right? The Red Lodge pub. It's not bars, it's pubs. So not much pub crawling. Couldn't really crawl to pub in one pub. It's a one pub down. And then it wasn't far from Newmarket. I think that was the closest town. I think the biggest town that some people know. Jim says, great advice on replanning and it not only helps you remind yourself what needs to be done, but also what to focus on and create realistic goals. So I will admit it. I love the Hallmark Channel. I know, shocker there, right? I love the Hallmark Channel. So I have, like, when I really, really don't want to upload, that's the worst part for me because it's boring. Let's admit it. Uploading is not exciting. I will, if I'm really not feeling motivated, I'll put on one of my Hallmark movies that I've wanted to watch, and then I'll go sit and upload. So sometimes, yes, I need a carrot. We all do. But if you know your tendencies, I know mine very well. I try and, figure out what I can, use that carrot. I like to walk, but some mornings I don't want to get up and walk at 6 a.m. So I've been listening to this book on tape series that I wanted to listen to so that I am motivated to get out of bed and walk so that I can listen to it. Let's see. The best part about Newmarket is, Jim, is they have the best Indian food. There's this Newmarket Indian food. Best Indian food if you're all in Newmarket or around there or whatever. Really good Indian food. There's a little place that has Indian food. It was great. Okay, so now, I talked about this a little. The reason about creating plan, it's about, it's to de-stress. Plans are fabulous at making your stress level go from here to here, right? It's just, if your brain is trying to solve all these problems and it's working, and your brain is working so hard in the background that is where that anxiety comes from. And if you write things down and just create a plan, there's some stress, but at least you know where you can refocus your stress. I know what's next on my list. I know when I need to get that done. I'm going to do that. So now there's a caveat that comes with number 1. So if you do number 1 and take action, like, you can be ready for Q4. So I could really only have one tip. And it's kind of, in the second part is take action, right? So create the plan, act on it. Act on your plan. Very important, okay? So creating the plan is good, but you have to act on it. I have loved when my wife asked me to watch one of hers. I can see why then you're kind of with her while she watches romance novel or romance movies, Jim, but you don't have to actually pay attention too much. What type of Indian food? Oh, you know what my favorite is? Chicken tikka masala. And that's actually my absolute favorite. I take that back. It's the spinach sag spinach, something like that, with the creamed spinach, and that's so good. With the naan, my kids, it's hilarious because I make them eat Indian food, and their friends, they're like, Indian food. But you know what? They have a lot of friends who are Korean too, so they eat a lot of Korean food too. But they love naan. They're a little so-so in the chicken tikka masala, but the rice and the naan, they're all about that. Sag. Yes, I don't know how you say that. I'm guessing that's how you say it. All right. But yeah, I love Middle Eastern food, like Moroccan, Indian. I grew up my mom cooked like chicken sticks and fish sticks and fries and all that. And yeah, that was pretty boring. So I love all sorts of foods and spices, and it's so much fun. Okay. So number 2, create a plan. Number 1, right? And we talked about the steps to create a plan. Now, if you want to get a little more exotic than creating a plan and action, so here's some other tips. I know, I thought of some other tips. Gift niches, okay? So Christmas, Q4 is all about the gift niches, right? Now, there's also in this, okay, so what are the gift niches? Animals, pets, careers, right? People want to get something for their favorite electrical engineer in the world, and they have no idea what to get their favorite electrical engineer in the world. Or, that sort of thing. Like all those careers, be specific. If you just type into Google, you could even be, you can be even really creative, like type odd or creative careers into Google, or technical careers or something like that. So you can kind of focus down career things, and then you can do the switch things out. So find like for the animals, don't use, this is just an example, but it's easy to think of. Like, so for animals, sloths are my spirit animal, right? And then you could put, dinosaurs are my spirit animal, or Dobermans, or corgis, or, just be specific, like that: corgis, Dobermans, and that sort of thing. And you can add, is my spirit animal, but come up with something else a little bit more original than that. That's kind of overdone at this point in time. But something like that for careers, you come up with something that you can put in there. You create a really pretty design, and then you can either add a graphic element, like, we're sloths, you add a sloth, or, if it's all text based, you can add color, or definitely change out the word. So just think about it. I think for KDP versus t-shirts, KDP people like graphics, so books people like graphics better. So I think just changing out the word might be okay, but I think you're going to have to change out or add graphics. That's really what catches people's attention on books. They really like the graphics with it. So you'd want a sloth or something. Now, careers, it might be, with some engineering careers, you could probably use the same graphic. Like nurses, doctors, there's specialty nurses, but you could use the same graphic for different kinds of nurses. Something like that would definitely be appropriate. Okay, so the other thing is animals, pets, careers, holidays, right? So let's go even into the holiday gift niche. You have recipe books, log books, shopping planners. I don't even know what that says. I have really bad handwriting when I'm writing fast. But different holiday organizers. There's all sorts of fun things you could do with recipe books. For Halloween or Thanksgiving or Christmas, you could write out, your family's favorite Christmas or Thanksgiving recipes. You put a few in there, and then, you have blank lines afterwards. You can do definitely something like that. Okay, then let's see. The third thing to focus, you can focus on is like New Year's. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that comes with New Year's. You've got calendars that kind of turn over that whole 2021 aspect, and all the different kinds of calendars you can do. You've got all the New Year's resolution people, right? And there's if you just type in Google New Year's resolutions, the top most common, weight loss obviously is going to be one of them. But there's stress, anxiety. There's just a ton of New Year's stuff. So think and put your eye towards what kind of things do people start thinking about in the new year, and what kind of books are they going to be purchasing. So what I did last year is I kind of focused on two things. I did a bunch of gift typey things, and then I did a bunch of calendar planner stuff that started in the new year. So that made my January awesome, because previously I'd done really well, in the November, Christmas, all that time frame, but January was kind of sad. So I focused a lot on like the new year type stuff and added a bunch of new year stuff. And then I added a bunch of specific stuff to this year was 2020. Next year it's going to be 2021. And then I also added some evergreen stuff. So I took, I talked about this in my planner course. I took out the specific dates and put some undated stuff and just added that in so that I could get, use that same stuff I had created for a specific niche, not just for a certain year, right? It could be reused, or someone could start and stop it. So I kind of did that. I created that originally with the design in mind that I was going to take out all the dates. So I did it kind of that way on purpose. So that really helped my January. My January last year was really good. And that really made me happy because I tried to do that. Let's see. Number 4. So my tip number 4. My tip number 4 is be a problem solver. Okay. So be a problem solver. Here's how I suggest you go about being a problem solver. These are the best niches because you can charge more for them. You can make more detailed interiors. You're talking like the $8.99, $9.99, and even the $12.99 range if you make a really good specific interior to solve some of these problems. You can definitely charge more for them. So think about something you know something about, okay? And maybe you're like, I don't know. So, list some things you know about. Pick your top 10 things you think you know something about. Write a list, right? And then go on to Reddit or message boards or Google and look for places where people gather to complain about their problem, right? So anybody who is complaining about their problem is giving you a gold mine of information of how you can say, oh, well, I know a way to solve that, right? And then you can also definitely, once you kind of have an idea, do some research into specifics. Like I was reading something about acne, and they're trying to reduce people's stress for acne, and so they were saying, a way to reduce stress is journaling. So you could create an acne de-stress journal or something like that. That would definitely be a specific problem, and acne is a big problem. But I was reading an article on it about acne, and I was like, oh, I never thought about writing a journal to de-stress, but okay. I can see it, right? Stress definitely makes acne worse. So that's kind of, find people's pain points. Go think about something you know about so that you're not too lost when you start looking at these problems, and then see what you can pull out that would be useful to you. Okay, let's see. Got lots of comments about Indian food. Chicken balti. Oh, I have tried that. Chicken korma I haven't tried. Let's see. Oh, I had a friend who his family was from India, right? So they oh my gosh, they had such good food. I was so excited whenever their parents would invite me to go watch Bollywood movies because I was like, yes, I get to eat. So good. Americans not so hot on Indian food. Curry is a national. It's funny too because there's Indian food, and then there's English Indian food, and then there's American Indian food. So I've kind of had the whole gamut of them. And you guys in England, it's a little bit less spice. I don't know. It's a little more bland. It's a little different. And then Americans have kind of a little bit different flavor. And then in India, they're really big on the curry, where I sometimes can't take some of it. But it's interesting to see that I've been in all three, right? I've got to taste like Indian food from like families who made it traditionally, and then the different versions of English, and then the American version, or Americanized. I guess a lot of times it's been Americanized or Englishified, UKified. I'm not really sure what that term would be. Let's see. I think that's it. Like, I don't want to give you 1.5 million tips because that's not going to particularly help. I think literally number one, coming up with a plan and then going out and doing it. Now, number 4, that, if you want to pick any of these, like number 2, gifts, or 3, New Year's resolutions, and 4, be a problem solver, you can definitely take that. So yeah, I even had a number 4. It says, so, figure out what people's pain points are, right? And then create a plan. Go to number 1, right? So you can do any of the 2 gift niche, New Year's resolution type things, or a problem solver, and then go towards, creating the plan, creating what you want to create. I definitely think that the more specific you can get, and I think the problem solver aspect is the way you can easily is relative. You can definitely differentiate yourself because you're doing a little bit of research, a little bit of work, and you can charge more. So I think that's a good way to go if you're feeling like your low content books, things aren't selling. You're like, oh, I've done 100 low content books and nothing's selling. Well, then maybe try this. Try something a little bit more niche, a little bit more specific, and definitely more than a lined interior. And I think after you do a few, it's not to say everyone's going to be a success, because they probably won't be, but you'll find kind of your groove, and you'll get better at it and finding the niches and ways you can solve problems uniquely. All right. So Teresa says, visiting my daughter, was looking forward to have good internet. Now it stopped working. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's like my kids. I was yelling at them. They were being so loud. So I was saying, hey, stop being loud. I thought they'd actually be quiet. No. So yes, I get that you think something's going to happen, and just, opposite. Think positive thoughts, right? Right, Teresa? Think positively about that. It'll just fix itself. Because you never know. It is tech. There's all sorts of crazy reasons things stop working. Or turn your computer off and try again. So what I always tell people, like the other day, someone was like, my computer's doing XYZ. I'm like, oh, just shut it down and reload it and see if it works. And they're like, oh, it worked. I'm like, yeah, sometimes that's the problem for whatever weird reason. So anyway, that was it today. I wanted to be done by 12:30 and I am. Hopefully you'll take these tips. Like I said, I think my best books have always been the problem. Well, I have a few lined interiors that I did. They have more than lines in them. They have specific graphics in them for a niche, and those do really well. But I kind of randomly hit on that niche because it was something my daughters were into. So it was kind of obscure. But I think the ones I've always done best on is finding those problem solutions and going on. Yeah, I've gone on message boards and seen what people find, like, oh, I'm always complaining about this. Oh, this hurts. I've tried this and this. And even those I've tried this and this. And then if people chime in to say, hey, oh, yeah, that worked for me. Yeah, that worked for me. See if there's something you can do with that, because those tend to be really good niches that are specific. And if you can, hit those, and even if if you find those niches and pick them up, and you can do better, but like $200 or $300 a month for something like that, because you can charge a little bit more, $9.99, $12.99. And $12.99 is a great price point because you can do like 160 pages or 140 pages. If you're at the 6x9, I wouldn't really go more than 140 pages. They're kind of hard to open. But if it's a bigger one, 8.5 by 11, you can go up to 160 pages. You can definitely charge $12.99, and people are happy to pay that if you've really, solved their problem. So they're happy to do something like that. All right. So I hope that is helpful. Just come up with a plan, go with the plan, act. Plan, act. Like that is the number one tip, honestly, I can give you, because if you aren't planning, you're not aimed at anything. And if you're not taking action, well, nothing's going to happen. And even if your action is small, it doesn't matter as long as you're just continually moving forward. That's the important part. All right. I think that is it for today. Do check out my Facebook page if you haven't, our Facebook group. Join. Great info in there. Oh, I'm so sorry. I did want to answer these questions. Darn it. I have to flip my whole page over. Okay. So people asked questions on my, got a question for Ashley form thing. I totally haven't looked at it in a few weeks. I'm sorry. It was really crazy with my planner. So a few questions were, one of them, the big one was from Raw Paul, and he asked a bunch of questions like, I'm new, I'm doing a paper book. What's a demanding niche? How should I do cover and interior design? Keywording, all that stuff. All you asked, you can definitely find in my Unit 1 planner challenge. Like, I really go into a lot of detail, so please join that if you haven't. Carrie asked about freebies, like where can she get free graphics? Look for freebies on Creative Fabrica, Hungry JPEG, and Creative Market. There's also dollar deals all the time on really cute stuff. Pixabay is another place you can get free stuff. The thing on Pixabay is make sure you do a reverse Google search to make sure they didn't steal it from somewhere and put it up there, and that it's and it's not trademark stuff. Like if it's Nike, like stuff like that, don't do any of that. And then also make sure to change up your stuff. If you don't know how to do a reverse Google image search, just type in Google reverse image search. It shows up. The last one, Rhonda asked about I've actually talked to Rhonda about this. How do you do a calculator? In my KDP, in my Facebook group, I have a KDP calculator, and I have some set dimensions and stuff like that. So join my Facebook group. There's a lot of really good free resources in there. And I'm happy to have you. And I think that was it. Okay, I do have to go because someone rang up my doorbell. So now I have to actually go because it is 12:30. So I will see you all next week. Thanks. Bye.